Hi, I am here with Kayla, who we were just discussing did your career homecoming 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah. Kayla, can you start by taking us all the way back to just to give us some context, like what was going on with you pre your career homecoming, life context, work context? What's the scene?
Yeah, I think I found your program at probably one of the lowest points in my career. I had been working as a veterinary technician in a job that I really loved for probably about 12 years. And I went to school for that and, had been leveling up my skills in that area for a really long time. I had a boss that I loved. And what happened was the business, my boss retired and the business changed hands. And literally the next day, they let a bunch of people go, which is pretty normal in an organizational restructure like that. And so I was devastated. um, but also kind of took the moment to gather myself and really I really wanted to look at what I was going to do next very holistically, because I thought maybe it was an opportunity to pivot or look for something new, kind of do a retrospective, see where I wanted to go. And I think I found you. I think I just Googled like holistic career advice or something like that. And you were the first thing to pop up at the time. And yeah, so then I started the program and it was so helpful.
So I'm wondering before you Googled, right, and that linked us together. Any things you had tried to do to figure this out, or what did you feel like was keeping you from figuring out? Can you explain the challenge of figuring this out for you a little bit?
Yeah. So I don't know that I tried anything comprehensive. I think I was just taking a stab at things the best way I knew with the very limited knowledge that I had about how to choose a career, like using a lot of what I found out later was very outdated, not helpful advice. I was like, what is my passion and what do I like to do and what am I good at and what are similar jobs, and like scrolling through like Craigslist, and at the time was how you could find things. It's changed. The tech platforms have totally changed since then, but like, trying to get my resume out, putting out all these applications for similar jobs and just not really feeling it. I even thought maybe I just need to work for myself. And so I had like tried to take some time to start my own admin business and really didn't jive with that either. So I don't know that I had done like any kind of other program. I was just trying to do these things. And I got tons of advice at that time too. I just want to say, like, my parents were like, you should do this. And my brother's like, come work for me at my company and I'll get you in there. And all these things that seem like
Yeah.
they're supposed to work just were not feeling, they just weren't, first of all, they weren't, I wasn't getting results. I wasn't getting the outcomes I wanted. But also they just weren't really feeling good. And so that's kind of what I was trying, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah. Okay. So knowing all that, what do you think it was about this process that did work?
Oh my gosh. Um, the way that your exercises and program approached careers and how to choose a career was just not like anything that it was not advice I had ever heard before. It kind of went against, in fact, everything that I had heard. But once you really broke it down for us and we did the work inside of ourselves, it was really fun to do. And it was also just sort of setting me up to have my own systems that were custom to me to make a choice. And so the way that looked was, I was looking at not so much Oh, I love this, because one of the things that was kind of an aha moment for me in the program was, like, we grow up with people asking us, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? As if it's one thing. And maybe there was a time in the world where you could say, I'm going to be a fireman, and I'm going to be a teacher, or I'm going to be, we had these like very identity based careers. The world just doesn't look like that anymore. And maybe it never did, but I really had to undo that. So rather than coming at career choices about what do I want to do, or what little packaged identity do I want to create, your program really helped us to identify our strengths, our values, how can we be of service, who can we serve, what are the through lines through all the different jobs we've had, what was the thing that was consistent for us across those. And you really walked us through how to create value-based filters that I still use today. Like every day I think, okay, am I filtering every opportunity that comes to me through my value system that I've set up? And if I'm not, I can adjust, or have my values changed? I think that's one of the things that makes your program so great across the years, 10 years later, that I still think about it so much, is because the things that I valued 10 years ago are not the things I value now. Maybe you have new skills and you want to use them differently, or your family situation is different. You're single at one point in time, and then you're married with kids, and the things that you want from your career are going to change with your life. So if you come from this value-based perspective and really knowing yourself, then you can make the decisions based on those values and be pretty sure that you're going to land with something that's going to get you most of the way. And I think that's another piece where there's this idea that there's this like perfect career utopia out there. But sometimes it's about like managing our expectations. And you walked us through like, what are the things that we absolutely cannot tolerate? And those things actually have to be pretty minimum, because we can make big, long laundry lists of all the things that we hate about our current job, and we just don't want to do those. But it looks just a little different when you're in a different situation. And finally, I will say the other thing that was very helpful was, if you're in a kind of a really rock bottom bad situation, whether you just got fired or you're in a job that you just sucking the life out of you, that is not the time to be really making a long-term decision. You might need to take some time to really get yourself in a more stable, consistent place that then you can make the change. So just having that kindness to sort of take care of yourself and your needs might be a phase, because I think we have all this guilt about not living up to our potential, and we're not doing what we're supposed to be, and we're not impassioned and on fire for everything every day. And that's just not realistic, but we can get pretty close. And I think that that's a big piece of what you help us do to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and like you're saying, sometimes it's not a matter of just I go from where I am straight into my homecoming career. Sometimes there's a stepping stone where it's like, I'm going to treat this as a recovery period, and then I'm going to go for my big thing, or I need to do some skill development, and then I'm going to go for my big thing. But the sooner we know where you're headed, the sooner the anxiety of what is it going to be and what am I going to, the sooner that can calm down. And then when you're ready, you can get into aligned action. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, what did you choose? What did you end up doing?
So I hope that this next piece that I'm going to share about my journey is really helpful for people, because when I look back over the last 10 years, I think I'm not alone in feeling like I'm one of those people that I'm such a learner. I'm so curious. I want to do all the things and learn all the things and try all the things. And one of the one of the exercises, well, one of the big goals that I had coming out of your program, out of we did it as a group at the time, was that I would find an anchor position. And that was just that I would find a position that was just kind of meeting my basic needs so that I could really decide to think about what I wanted to do next. And the irony is that that anchor position that was going to be temporary till I found my dream I'm still here. I still work here. I'm actually in my office right now. That has ended up being the foundation that I use to now be able to do pretty much whatever I want to. So I can explore something and maybe find that it's a dead end, but not have put all of my basic needs at risk. I can really still pay my bills and, have health insurance and these things. And maybe that's not for everybody. For me, but that was so important that and I have learned so much about myself that I've actually been able to move through different positions within this organization that I work for because of the skills. So it's not just like a whole total career change that we're always looking at. Your program really helps us to filter any opportunity that comes our way or to move forward in any way that we want to. And so I actually pieced together several different things. So I did end up going to nursing school. I am a registered nurse. The type of nursing that I do is in environmental health and environmental justice, and that is kind of something that is not always a paid gig. So, but it's something that I feel very passionate about. And so because I have this anchor position, I'm able to spend time. I have the autonomy to go and kind of do those things and do them well and do them with take kind of risks within them that I would not be able to take if I was expecting them to pay my rent, So I think that there's a side of that might sound like, oh, I'm just working all the time. And I hope that that's not what people are hearing, because really the way you help us choose the anchor position ensures that because I value autonomy and I value being able to walk out the door and not take my work with me, because those kind of basic things are tended to. I don't feel overworked. I really feel like energized to go and do other things outside of my working hours. And finally, I guess what I would add to that is that, and you talk about this a lot, pursuing your passion isn't necessarily good advice. And we all get it. Like, do what you're passionate about. I'm really excited when I hear somebody whose passion pays their bills. That's cool. If that, slam dunk for you. But some of us, when we really dive deep into service work, that's just sometimes not the kind of work that gets paid. And so I feel like we can find a path, and especially with the tools that you give us, to really create that for ourselves, pull it together from many different places, and get the best of all worlds, both worlds. So for me, I don't know that I can answer the question, like, what did I decide? I do different things all the time. All the time, I'm doing something different, some crazy certification or teaching or, working with a community-based organization that's struggling. I volunteer. And that's all because I've laid this really great foundation for myself, which you helped me to create.
And what is so nice about having multiple conversations with alums like this is that that's the Kayla version of this. and I'm going to talk to somebody else and they're like, no, I laid the track and I stayed on it and I rode it all the way. And I'm going to talk to someone else and they're like, well, I did this thing for 3 years and I decided I was ready to change and I used the tools and I navigated again. And then you're going to have people who are like, I actually do a constellation of two things that support each other. So it's not overwhelming, but I feel like I have more of a playground. So there's not a prescriptive, and now
Yeah.
it has to go look like this. It's a, here's a tool set. So you know how to find the configuration that works for you. We're going to acknowledge that you and your life circumstances and your needs and preferences are going to change over time. So you use the tool set to change over time if you need to.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What do you think for you is the biggest shift, like pre having this tool set and framework and after?
Oh, so much, but if I could boil it down to one thing, it's so powerful to know your worth and to know your gifts and to know how you can contribute and serve. And that is something that is timeless. It doesn't matter what setting you show up in. Yeah, if I can use the word, I feel like you really helped us to feel into and identify our own souls in a way so that we could show up authentically as ourselves with our values and worth intact, and to be able to communicate that clearly to anyone who asks.
Right? Because here's what
And
doesn't work. Here's my soul. Here's my soul. It's like, okay,
no, it
what?
doesn't work. No, I feel like I can really look at an opportunity and and really look at it and understand how I'm going to contribute value to that project or job or organization. Hands down, that's been the most valuable thing. Now, sometimes I am kind of in the back of my mind adjusting that to what I know they will need, but still feeling really true to myself and feeling like I just know that I can do this, and I know why they should ask me. And that definitely will be different for everyone, and yet it's an exercise worth doing. And you have us do that in a handful of ways too. It's like you're really helping us just get a big picture of our strengths and how we provide value, and that's just so important.
This has been so helpful just to hear. Oh man, I'm just also thinking like the program 9, 10 years ago versus now, what has stayed the same and endured and what shifts have had. Like, it's just been really great to hear your experience at the time, but also get a sense of what this has meant over time. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I can only imagine that you've refined it and perfected it in ways that make it even cooler. And so I really don't have any complaints. And it was absolutely my pleasure to be here. I've just, I truly think about some part of it probably every day. So thank you so much for really just continuing to show up for it. It's been incredible.
Thanks, Kayla.